I was such an idiot. It's true. You're probably wondering why a person in a Super Mario shirt is calling themselves an idiot. So let me introduce myself. Psych, you're not here to know who I am. You're here to have some fun. So let's dive right in. Why was I an idiot? Well, 8 years ago, that's when I started in Amazon PPC. And 8 years ago is when I got my first client. I met up with this person in a co-working space in Chicago, Illinois. Beautiful co-working space. You know, you got people separated out on their laptops, working, drinking coffee. And we had like a little pod, like those little pods that you can sit in. And I remember it. Like we sat down and we had met at an Amazon meetup in Chicago at a local meetup. So we had known each other. And he opens his laptop and, you know, we did some chat, catch up, all that stuff. Open his laptop and I'm kind of like looking at the campaigns and I'm going through it. And up to this point, I really hadn't had much experience with Amazon PPC. And I'm scanning through it and I'm like, you know what? I could probably get just as good results as the agency you're working with. Because at the time, he was working with an agency. So as I was scanning through the campaigns with my eyes, going through everything and, you know, clicking on campaigns, looking at keywords, seeing how the performance was, looking at different timeframes in Campaign Manager, I was like, you know, how about I take over the account for the same amount of money that the agency is currently you're paying? And he said, okay. You know, I really think the biggest reason that he took a risk on me was because I had known him from the Amazon meetup. He knew who I was, that I was someone who's really curious. Even though I didn't have a ton of experience, I was, you know, willing to learn and grow. So I took over the account and I started, you know, basically like looking at where I could make improvements. And man, so when I started, just to give you guys some background, when I started at Amazon PPC 8 years ago, which is almost a decade, I had no idea how to use bulk sheets. I wasn't using software. I wasn't using anything that would help me scale up any changes. And that's because I didn't have a technical background. I really didn't know much about spreadsheets when I started. I got a C in college algebra. I took one math class in college undergrad. It was college algebra and I got a C. By the way, that was passing. A D is not passing. So I barely passed college algebra. And that was the only math class I took all of the years of my undergrad. So, you know, I didn't have a strong background in math, which is what you need for PPC. And, you know, when you take like math classes and you're more like in a technical, usually when you're in a more technical major, you learn more about like spreadsheets and stuff like that, formulas. So I had none of that. Plus, to be honest, I didn't really like the teacher. And, you know, when you don't like the teacher, it's hard to really like learn or want to learn. So that was another thing that kind of like held me back a little bit. So long story short, I'm sitting here managing this account, no technical background, trying to figure it out. And that's why I was an idiot, because I had no clue. And I was sitting so I would like spend hours and hours changing bids, click on each individual campaign, click on each individual ad group, click on each keyword, adjust the bid. Then I would create campaigns using the campaign manager. Click create campaign, which, you know, I think in the beginning is fine. But if I really wanted to scale, or be able to like make a bigger impact on the account, I needed to be able to like systematize this and scale it up. So I knew that if I wanted to get better at this, I had to learn some things that I didn't know, and that included math and spreadsheets. I had to learn them. So I just started using good old Google and just started Googling different things on how to learn bulk sheets. And at the time, there really was no training on bulk sheets at all, Amazon PPC bulk files, because it was so brand new. This was when Amazon advertising was really brand new. So there was nothing out there. So I had to figure it out on my own. I was just out there in the woods trying to figure it out, I guess you could say. And that's where I just started learning more and more. And I remember I'd sit down, lay back, and I'd be in my 1-bedroom apartment in Chicago on my couch, just sitting there. And just, hours and hours of trying to figure it out. Because here's the thing, when I worked with my client, I not only, like, the thing is I had 2 jobs now. I had to get the person results, and they didn't care whether or not I could scale or not. All they cared about was the results. So I had to get the person results, which means that I had to spend hours and hours changing the bids and doing things, doing the campaigns. Then on top of that, in my free time, I had to figure out how to automate, systematize, and scale this Amazon PPC in my free, outside of the account, so that I could get better at actually working on the account. So, I remember just sitting there for hours and hours, just looking at spreadsheets, man, just staring at that screen forever, which I still do to this day, to be honest. But I just remember those early days as well. And that's when I started to kind of figure things out. Like, I was like, okay, I've got to do 2 things. I've got to get this person results, and I've got to learn how to scale up changes. And another thing that I had to do was, not only did I have to figure out how to scale up, but I had to merge the 2. So I had to merge being able to make a lot of changes, but also having methodologies so that those changes get you results. So, like, let's say you can change 1,000 bids in 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, you have a, software, or you have bulk sheets that you can make changes to bids in like 10 minutes. Well, a ton of bids in 10 minutes. Well, it doesn't really matter if you can make a ton of changes if those changes don't yield results. So, like, it didn't matter if I could launch 100 campaigns really quickly, because if those campaigns don't get results, then it doesn't matter. And so I had to figure out, okay, I've got to figure out how to build methodologies that work, that get results, and then have scalable systems for those methodologies, because the results are the most important thing. Getting results is the most important thing. And how I got those results, the client didn't care about how I got those results, right? They were like, "What? Do your thing. We just want the results." So I had to figure out on my free time how to be able to scale those results. Plus, if I wanted to work with more Amazon brands, I needed to figure that out, because, if I'm spending all my time on one, then I can't work with more Amazon brands and grow my business as well. So, that was rough, man. It was such a pain. It was, but what can I say? I'm a masochist. I love some pain. You know what I mean? So figured it out, figured out how to scale, automate, build systems, and not only build systems, but build scalable systems that get results. And that's my story. When I was 8 years ago, when I started, I was an idiot just trying to figure it out. And, now I'm, maybe less of an idiot, but I know I got more to learn. You're always learning more and more. So that's the story. That's the story of me going from not being able to scale the Amazon PPC to being able to scale the Amazon PPC and get results. So if you made it to this part of the video, congratulations. And I want to let you know that if you're someone who wants access to my knowledge and my experience and what I've built in terms of scaling Amazon PPC, then, stick around, because I'm going to show you how to do it so that you don't have to go through the pain that I went through. Because, ultimately, like, my intention with what I've built is so that people don't have to go through what I went through, so that they can shortcut everything. I made those mistakes so you don't have to. So let me go over really quick, now that you made it to the end of the video, what you can do if this interests you. If you want to learn how to scale Amazon PPC using software and Amazon bulk files, I want to share with you what I have that you can, look into and see if it's worth checking out. So first off, what you can check out is ppcamsaccelerator.com. Okay. So the first thing you can do, if you want something for free that I've given out, you can head over to ppcamsaccelerator.com /home, and you can get a free Amazon PPC automation, which me and my team have built. So, when you look at that automation, there's a video included. So it teaches you how to use that automation. It's an Excel bulk file automation that you can use, and it's used by Amazon's most successful brands. It's true. I've been doing this for 8 years. Hundreds of brands I've worked with. And so these methodologies, the efficacy of these methodologies are high, meaning that the the chances that they will get you results are high. And it'll give you an introduction into automations, which I think is huge. Having not only learning how to use automations, but having an automations mindset is really nice because it teaches you that, like, when you're doing something tedious over and over again, hey, how do I either hand this off to someone else, delegate, right? Or hand it off to a piece of technology, right? So check that out. Head on over there. I'll put the link in the description. Also, if you take a look at that, there's going to be that. I also have the PPC AMS Accelerator Academy. We've got a few people online right now. We've got a few members. And what this includes is one free. So included in this program, you get access to our software right here, which is Amazon PPC software that we've been using we started building this 5 years ago, and we have tons of brands on here. We've used it for hundreds of brands. It specializes in formula-based bid optimizations, and I actually have like a blueprint on how to use this. Literally, like the way, kind of like our methodology is that you schedule your automations, and then you can target specific SKUs. So you can schedule automations for specific SKUs, specific campaigns, things like that. We also have a day parting feature, bid automation feature, and even a portfolio update feature, which a lot of people don't know is that, like, well, this is getting a little more technical, but if you use portfolios, you can update the portfolio on a daily basis so that a specific SKU or a specific brand doesn't spend a certain amount of money. And you can use this tool to update that number on a daily basis so that you don't overspend. Then we've got this is the community right here. So this is where you can ask questions, you can share. This is where I post a lot of stuff. We've got our mastermind tomorrow in 25 hours. About Amazon Comprehend, which is a tool that I've discovered on a webinar last week, which is so cool. It helps with like analyzing text and a lot of stuff. I also share my systems. So I share the systems. So I work with clients, and I work with large brands that I've been with for years. And I share my systems, like this system, the low traffic relevant keyword system. It's a system that I built that's getting really good results. So what I do is I just create that system so that my members in this community can either apply that system themselves or hand it off to a team member. Like if they've got a VA or an employee, or they do it themselves, or things like that. So we got the mastermind, which we meet up every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We record them as well. You can show up or you can watch the recording. You can also send me questions. Like if you can't make the recording, just send me questions and I'll answer it. We got the software, community, mastermind, the classroom as well. This is where a lot of our automations are. So we've got software and we've got bulk file automations. The reason we do that is because I think that software is great. I also think the bulk file automations is great, but I really think that, bulk files are, it offers our community two ways of doing things. And I will say with our Excel ones, we have more of a variety, like a campaign launcher, things like that. We've also got our course right here on that, the mastermind recordings. We got the PPC agility course on our software. So it's a pretty in-depth program. And it helps with getting results. It teaches you that automations mindset. So you can check that out as well. And, I'm trying to think if I missed anything. Didn't miss anything. Thank you again for your time, for your attention, and I will see you next time.